is like love with nowhere to go. I don't think it's something you can get over. My name is Michael, and these are my thoughts on grief.
Hi, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing all right, doing okay. Thankful, I'm grateful. I lost one of my best friends, and 4 months later, 4 months after that, I lost my dad. Two very important people to me. I love them dearly, and I lost my best friend in November, and my dad in March this year. The first time I heard about my friend, I woke up from a dream knowing what happened, and I saw missed calls on my phone. I was scared to call anyone back, but when I did, and I heard it was, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like everything inside my chest just sunk down. Felt really heavy, and I couldn't hold back the tears because the reality of it hit me like almost immediately. So for my dad, it was the same thing. I woke up from a dream that morning. The night before, I couldn't speak with him. I spoke with my mom, and she told me, we'll get to talk to him again in the morning. And I woke from a dream. Same thing, I was scared to call because because of the dream I had. So I tried to go back to sleep, but it didn't work. So when I called my mom, she told me, I was still, I think for my dad, it took me a little while for it to hit me properly because I was still dealing with my friend, and it just, I became frustrated, like, can all of this just stop happening? Like, it's just 4 months ago. It was just 4 months before that, man, with my friend, and I was just, I was fed up, But about a week after that, like, that's when it started to really hit me. I write songs, I write rhymes, I write poems, I write. So my grieving process is all documented in songs and verses that I wrote, expressing my pain and my sadness and my frustration and just, all the emotions that I was feeling about losing people, I'm grateful that I have friends that I can talk to, I can vent, and they listen, and I have a family I can do the same with, and that's a precious gift. So I try not to be idle, just but in the midst of the busyness of things, and the hustle and bustle of things, I still gave myself time. I had days where I'd just be alone, or nights where I'd just be alone. I remember for the first 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep by myself. So I always go over to my friend's house and just sleep. You know, it was nice to just know someone else was there, because I live alone. So I didn't want to spend time by myself. And I wrote a lot. I wrote a lot of things. And I mean, I can get all existential about this, but when something happens to you, when you experience it yourself, it's a whole different feeling. I wish people never said it was God's will, because I know what God's will is, and I also understand that life is pain and suffering and death are parts of life itself. And you know, God, as much as I understand that God is in our suffering, so I don't need to be told that it was His will that my friend died or my dad died the way he did. That's not helpful, you know. But I never took it personal, because I already understood these things. So I just, whenever I heard it, I just brushed it off. Another thing I wish people never said was, God understands. I'm like, yo, listen, man, that's not what I want to hear right now. I want you to tell me you understand my pain, and that, you know, and or just sit silently. Just sit quietly with me. Just sit quietly with me. I would prefer that. You don't have to say anything to someone who's dealing with loss. Just listen. Just be there. I got everything I got everything I actually wanted. You know, people that I could just talk to whenever I felt heavy, and thankfully a gift to write whenever I couldn't express what I was feeling to anyone verbally. You know, I would just pen it down. I also wanted a chance to have said goodbye for the last time. I never did. To be honest, some days are harder than most. I don't think I'm over it. I think I've found ways, healthy ways, to deal and to cope. Because there are days I wake up happy, and then in the middle of the day, like in the afternoon, you know, I just get that feeling again. And it doesn't happen all the time, but whenever it does, I just allow it and I feel it. And I don't think it's something you can get over completely. I think you just keep dealing, and you know, it'll get better, but it'll still be very heavy nonetheless. Grief is like love with nowhere to go. You know, you wake up some days and you wish you could call them or text them or go over and see them because you're thinking about them. But you can't do that anymore. You can't spend time with them anymore. You know, So all of that love that you have for them just wells up inside you till eventually it just pours out. And I think those those days are harder the most are when all that love is welled up and it just pours out. The best thing you can do for yourself is to just stay in it. Absorb it, feel it. Don't toss it to the side. Don't run from it. It's healthy to embrace it because it'll pass. And when it comes around again, you embrace it again, and it will pass. If you can write about it. If you need to talk to someone, I hope that you have trustworthy friends. I'm blessed with a bunch of them, and I'm really grateful for them. If you have any creative outlet, just use that as a tool to cope and to deal. And whenever I remember them, I just remember, fun. I have fun memories of them, and I can use their names in conversations with my friends. Like, I don't feel like I have to refrain from using it because it might trigger some pain, but I'm happy because I know they lived well. And whenever we sit together, I'm like, yo, you remember when he said this or he did that, and we all laugh, because that's just life. Pain and suffering are integral parts of life, just as happiness and joy are. You can't run from these things. Life is like a cycle. Some days you're up and some days you're down. And honestly, that's the beauty of it. None of these parts of the cycle, like the ups and the downs, are permanent. Like, they just come and they go, and they come and they go. So, and that's the beauty of life for me. Grief is love with nowhere to go. So love everyone and tell them you love them. Let them know you miss them. Let them know you're thinking about them, because death is sure for everyone. My name is Michael, and these are my thoughts on grief.